All right, so today I want to talk about something I've been tagged on Twitter a few times here. There's one screenshot of the login bonus, and I saw my friend Carrie also made a tweet on it, and I just want to talk about some predictions I have for what's to come. So, essentially, on JP right now we're having this. I wouldn't call it a celebration. We got the Bond banner, right? This Bond Ragnarok banner. And this clearly was not supposed to be the whole thing for Ragnarok. It's such a strange thing that they did, they're dropping this Bond banner here. Because obviously this is not all there is to come for Ragnarok. Because it dropped just the Bond banner with no chapter. No Ragnarok chapter. No Ragnarok unit on the banner. There's no reason to even call this this banner Ragnarok other than the fact that, oh, it's the Bond from Ragnarok. But on the note, like this notice login bonus, this right here you can see translates to chapter 4 Eve Festival. And I saw, Carrie and the people who tagged me like, oh, it's festival, doesn't mean we're getting a festival next week for Ragnarok. And I was thinking, that wouldn't be too far-fetched. The way I actually read this is like, because it's Google Translate, it's like, oh, this is just like the celebration for the eve of chapter 4. That's how I read this, right? Because just because it says festival, it doesn't mean it's a festival banner. But it honestly wouldn't make the worst scheduling-wise, because last year, and they are following last year quite well, except, last year we got this free banner for Denzel and they didn't drop a free banner. But Festival, like, we got the same day as last year. The collab, we didn't get this, but last year was weird because we got 2 collabs back to back. I'm assuming this will be the window for when Slime will release the collab. Maybe not, I don't know. But last year we got Festival on the 15th of April. And, next update will be the 31st of March, basically 1st of April. So it's like, it will be 2 weeks before a festival, or what was last year a festival. I mean, it's not too far-fetched to think that they might drop a Ragnarok festival this year, and then 2 weeks later, maybe, I don't know, drop a random banner or the collab banner. Or we're just getting a regular, like, Ragnarok banner, and then 2 weeks later, we're gonna get the festival. I am more leaning towards we're just gonna get a random Ragnarok banner next week. It's just again, the way I read this is like, oh, it's like the Eve, like it's like a celebration of chapter 4 Eve, right? It doesn't really mean there's gonna be a festival next week. If it is a Ragnarok festival, I'm very curious to see who they're gonna choose as a festival. Like for them to release a festival unit of a non-series character, we would have to know who the character is, right? And there's no Flash-style Ragnarok character. There really isn't. Maybe you can say, I don't know, Sigurd is very Flash-style, because in the story we do see Sigurd facing Meliodas, but we already have a Sigurd. They're gonna drop another Sigurd that's a festival character. I find that very unlikely. So I don't see that being the case. Only because of that, because as far as the Ragnarok story goes, the Ragnarok story sucks, right? Let's be real. No, do you know what the Ragnarok story is about? Most of you probably don't, because you probably weren't paying attention because it's kind of boring. Like, the Ragnarok story is kind of boring. Like, when I play on JP, obviously I don't know what's going on, but then when I play on Global, I'm like, I still don't know what's going on. And I mean, if they drop the big boob lady from the trailer, I guess people wouldn't be mad about that. But like, I don't know. What I'm thinking we're gonna get next week, we're gonna get the Ragnarok banner, because last year we didn't have Ragnarok. So, or did we already have Ragnarok? No, Ragnarok released here, right? So released in June. This was the first Ragnarok banner. Sigurd and Tonar with Lost Fame was the first Ragnarok banner. So last year we didn't have Ragnarok, so that changes things, right? I'm thinking we're just gonna get a regular Ragnarok banner, and then 2 weeks later we're gonna get a festival, or the collab, but probably a festival, just given this will be the window of time. Because last year, you can see here, the 25th of March would be like, this week, and 3 weeks later we got a festival for Zeldris. So that was an extra week there that we didn't get a banner. They usually drop banners every 2 weeks. So that, I guess, makes sense for them to try to, like, fix that by releasing this god-awful Bond banner. Which, again, like, this whole thing with the Bond banner, what we're getting here, only lasts 1 week. Except the banner. Like, this roulette here only lasts 1 week. So we are getting an update next week with the whole patch, right? We are getting the whole thing next week. The chapter and probably a dual banner. I wouldn't be surprised if it's first of all, a fairy. Because we're getting, like, these fairies, right? We're getting goddamn 500 relics for fairies. And then we got a lane, which is a fairy buffer. Wouldn't be surprised if the Ragnarok banner coming next week is a fairy. And if they actually drop 2 Ragnarok characters. Because they dropped Bond this week, right? I don't think there's a reason for them to not drop 2 Ragnarok units next week. Like the last Ragnarok banner, they made the god-awful decision to release, where is it? Scotty with Elat, which made no sense. 0 sense. Elat has nothing to do with Ragnarok. It makes no sense, right? I'm concerned they're going to do the same again. Like, they might just drop, like, a random Ragnarok character that is not a festival, and should fill the quota for, like, the fairy, because, again, they're dropping so many fairy buffs. They might drop, like, a Helbram or something. Like, I don't know, like, that... It could happen. Like, that has nothing to do with Ragnarok. And then... which they easily could have dropped this week, right? Instead of dropping next week. But I'm hoping it's 2 Ragnarok characters. But, again, I don't think it's a festival. Let me know what you think. I think we might see... I don't know. I was looking at what Carrie said about his predictions. He predicts that next week, or the next festival, which would be 2 weeks from now probably, would be Estarossa. And then for anniversary, it would be like Elizabeth. It's like, ugh. I'm actually scared they're going to do that because, you know, one thing about the Grand Cross devs is that they don't know what hype is. They dropped these, like, random characters for celebrations. Like, they easily could have dropped a better character for the global anniversary, and they dropped Diane, right? They easily could have dropped Estarossa, and then dropped Diane where this Zeldris slot was, right? Let's go back up here. They easily could have dropped Estarossa on the global anniversary slot, and then dropped Diane on the next slot. They easily could have done that, right? But they had the great idea of dropping Diane for Global's anniversaries, which is negative hype. Like, legitimately, if I put the N on a video title, it instantly gets minus 400% views. It's crazy. And then, I mean, if they drop Estarossa as like a random festival, and then drop Elizabeth, which no one cares about for anniversaries, like, and no one cares about is like an overstatement, but like, people don't really care about her. They care about, you know, her body. They don't actually care about the character, right? No one cares about Elizabeth's character. She's annoying in the story. Like, come on. But no, I'm actually scared they're gonna do that.